I've done videos in the past about, is the comic industry healthy? Where is it good? Where is it bad? How's the interaction between creators and fans and all these kind of cultural aspects of comics. And in many cases, I think in hindsight, I think more, I've done too much on that topic. And I want to explain why, but also kind of get to another state of now we have a very clear way of looking at a world without comics. Do we like this world? This is what some people were asking for. Now we've got it. Well, what do we think? Hey everybody, this is Perch. This kind of goes into the whole, be careful what you wish for. You might just get it kind of, scenario where for a couple years now, probably more, there's been this constant drumbeat of, the comic industry is dying. The comic industry is dying. Oh my God, these people are killing the comic industry. Look at these trash comics. It's killing all comics. Has been kind of going on and on and on. And nobody in their videos was saying, hey, there's going to be a virus that's going to take out comics and all the comics are going to be gone. No, the virus, and it's funny, some people use the word virus, people were talking about were social issues, were, cultural behaviors of some of the creators, the publishers, and so on. And I've done enough videos that if you're coming in hot here and you haven't heard the other ones, I just, to be clear, bad behavior is bad behavior, whether it's creators, fans, whoever it is. Being professional online, yeah, it's better when you're professional. It helps sales. It's important. It's key. Marketing comics that actually have a chance of selling, yeah, that's important. Having changing characters dramatically from how they've been for decades because you're trying to get a headline in the Atlantic is bad idea. I've done those videos a million times. I'm not going to retread that ground. Whenever you go in and you make a point that's different, a lot of people like to come in and say, well, what about this and this and this? We've covered that ground. Endlessly, we've covered that ground. No, I think we now have a world where no comics are going out. Comic publishers are trying to figure out how to get them to go out. There's a lot of parts of this business have been exposed, and people are going, well, this proves the industry was always pretty fragile. Well, I mean, yeah, maybe. I think Diamond. There's clearly some things we've learned that Diamond was not cash flow rich. Obviously, was running too lean a margin. We've learned that a lot of aspects of this business are way too did not have backup plans. Did not have some of the monopoly aspects of it to it were a bad idea. Single source is a bad idea. But at the same time, if you look around the country right now, you see the airlines are struggling mightily. You see oil prices are down below zero. You have the cruise industry dying. You have the hotel industry dying. You have big sections in massive trouble, losing money in deep disarray. So you can't take this current situation and say, well, clearly this shows that comics were screwed. This situation is showing that everything was screwed, or is big enough, disastrous enough, terrible enough that it's impacting everyone. It's a bad conclusion, a false conclusion to say, well, this proves what I've been saying about comics all along. Not really, unless your point was that comic books themselves did not have enough stability to overcome a once in 100 years event. But now we don't have comics, and a lot of people are now noticing that the ad revenue on their videos are dropping, that the hits are not quite there because you can only be pissed off at a comic book that's not being printed so many times before people are like, well, yeah, I've this program's in reruns now. Wake me up when we've got comics going again. And undoubtedly there'll be a huge renaissance when comic books do start shipping out again. I mean, that new Warriors book will come out, and that will be 2,000 videos. And I mean, so business will come back on all fronts. But I think it's important to take a little pause here for a minute and really look at things and say, all right, so now we've gotten what a lot of people have predicted. We've gotten a stoppage of comics. We've gotten a lot of comics are not being printed. Businesses aren't able to survive. Local comic shops gone. We've got a lot of those elements have come true. And is this this going to sound very weird as a question, and it's a ridiculous question to me, but I have to ask it. Is this better? There are a lot of people who are saying, "Oh, let it die, let it die." And not a lot of people. Sorry, a small group of noisy people are like, I say it's time for the comic industry to burn to the ground. Well, it hasn't burned to the ground, but it simply, has come to a screeching halt. Are you happier? Like, did your life get better? Are we satisfied with what's happened? Is this a good thing? I I I you know I think that in many cases we're getting maybe a not a gift is a wrong word, but a very unique situation where we're getting a preview of what life would look like if it dramatically shifted. And things will return. Comic books get published again. Things slowly start to, get moving back out the door again, and we'll be right back to where we were. But now that you're seeing this pause, this halt, has it changed your view any? Has it changed the way you look at this industry? Have you come to a conclusion of, what? I really don't like a lot of what Marvel was doing, but this no comics at all. It wasn't worth this. It was me disliking New Warriors. It wasn't worth all comics stopping. So I guess maybe is it maybe providing people with some ability to cope with comics that they hate, with creators that block or are obnoxious a-holes on Twitter. I mean, has life gotten better? And to some of you maybe scratching your heads a little bit, I'm just posing this question. I will get to an answer. This isn't a video of just me posing questions. It's now that we can see what this looks like, have we started to get some other ideas about what might be done? Maybe that there is some other viable independent comic channels that we need to pursue. Maybe that we need to create better segmentation where the comic books get made by Marvel in this area and they're serving a certain market. We just completely tune out of that market rather than wanting all of the comic shops to die. I think that and most people won't look at it this way, especially the people who go to extremes. I have a feeling, I may be wrong here, most of the people who listen to my videos, most of this audience, you guys aren't extreme people, meaning you don't look at things in very stark kind of black and white terms. It's not like, you either have freedom to do everything in the world you want, no speed limits, no laws, no health restrictions, nothing, or you live in an authoritarian, totalitarian, death country. There turns out there's a world in between where you can have some rules, and those rules do not make it a dictatorship. And on the other end, you have some freedoms, and you understand the responsibility and how you manage your life. I think most of the people who listen to my videos probably sit not in the middle, but not on those extremes. And so I'm betting most of the people listening to this are going, who in the hell is saying they want the comic industry to burn to the ground and die? What an idiot. Nobody in their right mind would say something like that. And you're right. Nobody in their right mind would say something like that. But some people do. And I guess my thought is we can look at this, and I don't mean this in a callous way. You can look at this disaster, this mess, and you can say, all right, what is the opportunity in this? And I don't mean in a callous, like we have to obtain more political power kind of opportunity. I mean, now that we see what a pause looks like, how do we want to make sure that we don't have another pause? How do we make sure that the world doesn't grind to a halt again? How do we protect comics from this kind of disaster, from upending everything? How do we keep the ball rolling? How do we make sure that our grievances, whether they're big or petty, are addressed in a way that makes sense, that doesn't have to be shut down everything in order to fix things? I think, and a good way to maybe think about this is Diamond having single source distribution had problems. I mean, if there was a disaster, nobody would want this, but if there's like a fire in a warehouse, or a Steve Jeppy passes away, or just some major parts of this business change status, change for the worse, what would have happened? I think we're seeing clearly that Diamond had a lot of concerns, that there were some big worries in here that were going to cause troubles. And now that we're seeing a little preview of what that looks like, I think we have the opportunity to fix it. So I'd ask you these questions in the comments if you could. One, if you're one of these people who are like, you know what, I'm so sick of Marvel and all this kind of stuff, I just want comics to die. If that was you, do you feel better now? Or do you feel differently now? Now that you're seeing it, does maybe, the comic industry dying not sound so cool anymore? Or are you looking at this and saying, you know what? Yeah, we could live without comics. Screw it. I was right all along. And then in addition, do we look at any of this and say, you know what? This is showing very clearly where we need to invest some work, where we need to make some changes, where there's opportunities to improve things for the better. And I'm motivated to go out and change those things. What are those things? And have you had that reaction at all? Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think of all this. I wanted to pose this out because I think there's an opportunity here to take stock of everything that's been said over the last 2 to 5 years over, our hatred of certain aspects of the comic industry, or maybe not you, but maybe somebody else, maybe someone else's hatred of the comic industry. And now that we see a comic industry on hold, what's changed? Let me know in the comments below if any of this makes sense. Like, subscribe, recommend to a friend if you don't mind. Take it over to Twitter if you'd rather talk to me there. Happy to always chat there. And thanks for listening.